don't miss out on new videos. Click the bell. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up for more.
Hi everyone! Welcome to Japanese Top Words. Today's theme is 10 ways to remember words. Let's go! なるべくネイティブと話をする。I speak as often as possible with native speakers. 皆さん、日本人の友達はいますか？もし日本語を勉強してて、ね、なんかチャンスがあれば日本人の友達作ったら上達する早道になるかもしれません。何回も読んだり書いたり話したりを繰り返しする。I use repetition, reading and writing, and speaking words over and over again. 海外にイギリスに行ってたことがあるんですけど、そこで英語勉強するときにバスに乗りながらネイティブの人たちの会話のモノマネを一人でコソコソしたりしてました。秘密That's what I'm saying! とかだけど見つかったらちょっと怪しいから気をつけてください。子供向けのテレビや YouTube をよく見る。I often watch TV or YouTube videos that are designed for young children. 子供向けのテレビ、アニメとかだったら結構簡単な会話が出てくるからおすすめです。日常生活の中でいつも使うようにする。I try to use the language routinely in the context or daily life. 例えば相手が日本人の人じゃなくても、独り言とかでもいいんですけど、その言葉を使うようにする。外国の人ってなんか、オットっていうのを、英語圏の人なんですけど、ウップスって言うじゃないですか。それを、日常生活の中で私も真似してたんです。わざと。ウップスとか。そしたら、日本に帰ってきて、なんかぶつかった時に、ウップスって言ったりして、ちょっと恥ずかしい思いしたことあります。日本語で考えようとすると、頭の中も自然に日本語になる。I try to think in Japanese, so it becomes natural to my thought process. これは確かに、外国の自分の母国語で考えて日本語を喋るよりも、なるべく日本語で考えてから喋った方がスムーズに出てくるようになると思います。結構難しいんですけどね、そのプロセスが。家族や犬に向かって理解されなくても話し続ける。I am persistent in practicing every day by talking to my family or my dogs, even though they don't understand me. 毎日やっぱり誰か相手を作って話すというのが大事なんですね。弟と一緒に住んでるんですけど、喧嘩した時に英語で文句言ったりします。そうするとわかんないからね。ダメ。新聞をできるだけ読むと言葉を覚えるのに役立つ。Reading as much as possible, especially the newspaper, helps me to remember words. あと新聞だけじゃなくて、ラジオでニュースを聞いてそれの真似をするのもいいかもしれません。簡単な文章の中に新しい言葉を使ってみると、単体の言葉だけでなく文章全体を勉強できる。I try to use the new words in a simple sentence, so I learn whole phrases, not just individual words. 例えば、何か一つ言うにしても、新しい言葉を覚えて、それを文章の中に使うことによって、なんかいろんな言い回しが増えて、文も覚えれて、一石二鳥ということですかね。一石二鳥。Killing two birds with one stone. 一石二鳥。覚えてください。音楽を聴いて歌詞を暗記する。I listen to the song and memorize the lyrics. 私が外国語を勉強するときはだいたい音楽から入ることが多くて、初めは意味わからなくても、そのまま真似して歌ったりして、後々になって意味が理解できるっていうことが結構あります。C'est un beau roman, c'est une belle histoire. 皆さんのなんか好きな日本の曲あれば教えてください。実際に自分に聞こえるように 言葉を声に出す。I say words out loud so that I can actually hear them. 頭の中で読むだけじゃなくて、口に出すことによって、より覚えが早くなると思います。私も経験上。Don't be shy. どんどん言っていったらいいと思いますよ。今日は以上です。That's it for today. なんか皆さん、今日のその勉強法で一番好きな方法はどれですか？あともし、今日出てなかったものでもおすすめの勉強法があればぜひ教えてください。ではまた！バイバイ！バイバイ。Don't forget to subscribe! Bye!
Hi, welcome to Introduction to Japanese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Risa.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Japanese grammar. Word order refers to the order in which words are structured to form a sentence in a given language. Consider the English sentence, I ate an apple. But first, let's remove the article an here for simplicity, so we're just left with I ate apple. The basic word order for English is subject, verb, object, or SVO for short. If we break down the English sentence, I ate apple, we can see that the subject I is presented first, followed by the verb ate, and then finally the object apple is positioned last. This is the basic word order for sentences in English.
Now, let's compare the same sentence, I ate an apple, in Japanese. 私がリンゴを食べました。Like before, let's remove the particles to keep it simple. So we're just left with the words. If we break down the Japanese sentence, we get the subject, 私, meaning I. Then comes the object, リンゴ, meaning apple. And finally, we have the verb, 食べました, meaning ate. The word order for Japanese then is subject, object, verb, or SOV for short.
In both languages, the subject is presented first. In English, though, it's followed by the verb and then the object, compared to the object being first and the verb last in Japanese. The same sentence in Japanese is essentially I apple ate, subject first, then object, and verb last, SOV. This is the basic word order for sentences in Japanese.
Okay, let's move on to the next section.
English is what is called a subject-prominent language. This simply means that the subject is slightly more important than other components in the sentence. It's the key piece of information other components in the sentence relate to. Who is doing the action is slightly more important than what is being done or which object it's being done to in English. If we had to slowly remove pieces of information from a sentence while trying to keep its essence intact, logically we would do so in order of least important to most important. If we were to omit the subject, we would get ate an apple, which sounds strange. On the other hand, if we were to omit the object instead, the sentence would become I ate. Even though in each instance we omitted a piece of information, the reason I ate sounds less strange is because we've yet to break any grammatical rules, and so there's still potential for the sentence fragment to become a complete sentence and to become grammatically correct. Since the latter is logical, this indicates that the subject is more important than the object in English. The same would have been true if we had omitted the verb. Since the subject is the integral component in the sentence, this makes English a subject-prominent language.
Japanese, on the other hand, is a topic-prominent language. Unlike English, the focus of each Japanese sentence is the topic, not the subject. Essentially, the ate an apple portion, リンゴを食べました, is the main focus of the sentence, where I is deemed less important and can be omitted.
In fact, if it's obvious what the subject is, or if it's already been established, it's quite normal to omit the subject from the conversation altogether in Japanese. Let's look at this aspect in a bit more detail. More often than not, if you wanted to say, I ate an apple in Japanese, you would not say,
私がリンゴを食べました。
Instead, you would more likely say, apple ate in Japanese.
リンゴを食べました。
Since Japanese is a topic-prominent language, the information to be shared is the act of eating the apple. Less important is the subject, which is omitted altogether. Most Japanese sentences are constructed and spoken like this in real life. In most situations, such as a one-on-one conversation, it's clear that the person who's speaking is the subject. In cases where it's obvious who or what the subject is, it's almost guaranteed that the subject will be omitted. And so you're left with
リンゴを食べました。
On the other hand, when it's unclear who or what the subject is, or if you wanted to place emphasis on the subject, like if you wanted to declare from a group of people that it was you who ate the apple, then you would include the subject.
私がリンゴを食べました。
But more often than not, most sentences spoken in daily Japanese conversation can be spoken without including the subject at all, particularly if that subject is you.
箱を開けました。電車で帰りました。
Knowing this, we can easily express any simple action in Japanese using just the object and the verb. Try to create the sentence, I ate a hot dog, from these sets of words.
食べました。ホットドッグを
Okay, got it? The object goes first, so let's put hot dog here. And the verb goes last, so let's put ate at the end. Finally, we connect them using the appropriate particle. And that's it.
ホットドッグを食べました。
Which means, I ate a hot dog in Japanese.
ホットドッグを食べました。
You can create any basic sentence like this in Japanese if you simply know the word for the object and the verb in Japanese. Well done! Let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that Japanese sentences are formed using a subject-object-verb, or SOV, word order. The most important aspect of Japanese sentences is not the subject of the sentence, but the topic. Most sentences spoken in Japanese will not actually contain a subject, especially if that subject is obvious, like when it's yourself, the speaker. And lastly, you can create basic sentences in Japanese by putting the object first and the verb last.
Hi everyone, I'm Risa. Welcome to Basic Japanese Writing. In this series, I'm going to teach you how to master the Japanese alphabet in the fastest, easiest, and most fun way. Did you know written Japanese actually uses 3 different scripts: hiragana, katakana, and kanji.
Hiragana is the basic Japanese alphabet. Contrary to the English alphabet, however, each character represents one syllable sound. So every time you see one specific character, you know that it will always sound the same way. The second script used in Japanese is katakana. Each katakana character represents the same syllable as its hiragana counterpart. However, it is written a bit differently and is used mostly for foreign words. These two make up the Japanese alphabet, and they will be the focus of this series. On the other hand, kanji characters represent a word or a concept, and unlike hiragana and katakana, there are thousands of them. Plus, there are also different readings for each of them. This makes kanji characters harder to master. However, it's important to learn them as well because they are essential in understanding Japanese.
To learn more about kanji, check out our kanji series at JapanesePod101.com, which I also host with Alicia.
In this first lesson, we'll be diving into hiragana, and you'll be learning your first 5 characters. Hiragana characters are the most common of the 3 scripts because it's used to write functional words like grammatical particles and are also commonly found at the end of adjectives and verbs. There are also a lot of words that are more commonly written in hiragana rather than kanji. Technically, hiragana characters could also be used to substitute kanji characters that you don't know how to write. But don't use this as an excuse not to learn kanji. There are 46 hiragana characters and they are commonly arranged in this order.
Take note that when Japanese is written vertically, you read it from right to left. So we'll be starting with this column.
These 5 characters are the 5 vowel sounds in Japanese. The rest of the characters are made up of a consonant sound and one of these vowel sounds, except for the n character.
Okay, are you ready to learn your first hiragana? Here we go!
This is the hiragana character, a. To remember this character, try comparing it with an apple. Do you see it? Next up is the hiragana character, I. Think of this character as two eyes, side by side. い。
You can actually see "い" a lot in writing, as it acts like a suffix to most adjectives in Japanese.
The third one is the hiragana. う。う。To remember this character, imagine a boxer getting punched in the stomach saying う. This is the hiragana character, え. え. It looks like an energetic ninja. Whoosh! Now, our final character for this lesson, the hiragana, お. お. To remember お, try to think of it as a UFO. Take a look at these two characters. Do you remember this character on the left? That's right, it's the hiragana, あ. In order to differentiate hiragana, お, from あ, just remember that お has a floating stroke on the side.
お is also often used in writing, but unlike い, お is commonly found at the beginning of words. It is used to imply politeness.
Let's see all the characters again. あ, い, う, え, お. Now, let's review what you've learned. I'll show you a character or a word and give you time to say them. Ready? え. Remember the energetic ninja. い. Believe it or not, it's actually a word. い means stomach. う. Which one is the hiragana? あ. It's the one that looks like an apple and doesn't have a floating stroke. This one. 愛. It means love. 上. This one means up or above. いいえ. いいえ means no. 青い. This means blue.
Great job! Do you remember when I said hiragana characters are used to spell out the pronunciation of a kanji? They are placed above or beside a kanji and written smaller. This use of hiragana is called furigana. Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what you've learned.
In this lesson, you've learned the 5 hiragana vowels. あ、い、う、え, and お.
よくできました。You've now mastered your first 5 characters.
Do you know what big is in Japanese? In the next lesson, you learn it when you get to know your first batch of consonant vowel syllables. Before you go, practice writing the following words on your own. And to learn more Japanese, go to JapanesePort101.com. Want to know the do's and don'ts of writing your hiragana? Watch the full lessons on the site with advanced hiragana and katakana writing instructions. There, I'll be teaching you the correct balance and releases to make your writing perfect.
See you in the next lesson. またね!
Hi! Welcome to Introduction to Japanese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Risa. In this series, you learn everything you need to know to get started learning Japanese.
That's right, and we're here to help guide you through your journey. In this lesson, you'll learn the reasons you should start learning a new language, why you should learn Japanese in particular, and how to get started.
Let's begin with the most obvious question: why learn a new language?
There are countless reasons, but perhaps the biggest one of all is that it could actually change your life. Learning a new language unlocks new pathways that are off limits to you now. There are certain things that you simply cannot do without having the technical or cultural skills that come from learning a new language.
Like working or living in another country.
Knowing another language provides you with greater job opportunities. You have the freedom to move to another country halfway around the world and earn a living, or even better yet, build a career from it, instead of just being stuck in one place. Language allows you to visit or live in places that you may never have even considered going simply because that wasn't a possibility for you. Knowing another language simply gives you more options to choose from.
And learning a new language also helps you to be more open-minded and see the world from a new perspective.
Language and culture go hand in hand. The world is a big place, and by broadening your understanding of other cultures, it allows you to be more empathetic and understanding of the many different ways that people live their lives. With language, you're able to see and experience more, which helps you to grow as a person.
Learning a new language also improves your memory.
Several studies have consistently shown that those who study another language have improved memory as opposed to those who didn't learn another language. Learning another language also keeps your brain healthy by significantly delaying the onset of Alzheimer's and dementia. This difference can be as much as 4 to 5 more years of quality life.
And those are just some of the reasons you should learn another language. The list just goes on and on.
Now you know the benefits of studying another language, but why should you learn Japanese in particular?
Have you ever heard of Pokemon, Mario, or PlayStation? Well, they all came from Japan.
Japanese pop culture is huge. Many of the animations, comics, and games that are loved by people from all over the world were created in Japan. Not everything gets translated either, so unless you know Japanese, you're missing out on a lot of amazing things that Japanese pop culture has to offer.
And what about the fact that Japan is the third largest economy in the world?
Japan has one of the largest electronic goods industries in the world and is the world's third largest automobile manufacturer. It's also one of the highest ranked countries in terms of innovation. Knowing Japanese opens up many business opportunities. And knowledge of the language, of Japanese culture, their work ethic, and business etiquette can go a very long way in the world of business. Oftentimes, it could even make or break an important business deal. Knowing Japanese then will put you ahead of the pack.
Japan has one of the fastest growing tourism sectors in Asia. And actually, Japan will be hosting the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo.
We should add that the majority of the Japanese population can't speak English, so if you're planning on making a few friends in Japan, being able to speak at least some Japanese will get you a long way. There are many World Heritage Sites for you to see and enjoy in Japan. Perhaps the most famous one of all, an absolute icon of Japan, is Mount Fuji, the highest mountain in Japan.
Another spot that I really like is Himeji Castle. It's one of the finest examples of Japanese architecture during the period of feudal Japan.
Japan has a colorful history that spans thousands of years. The feudal period of Japan, the age of the samurai, lasted for nearly a millennium. Most notably, the country saw an unprecedented 250 years of peace and prosperity, giving rise to artistic, cultural, and social development, all of which you can see and enjoy in museums across Japan today.
So clearly, there are many reasons why you should learn Japanese.
Okay then, we've talked about why you should start learning a language and why you should start learning Japanese, but how should they get started, Risa?
Well, it's as simple as learning your first word in Japanese and building up from there.
The good news, though, is that you already know some Japanese.
Sushi, samurai, karaoke.
These are words that have made their way into English, but the reverse is also true. Many English words have also made their way into Japanese.
Ice cream, ビール, butter.
In fact, 10% of all Japanese words used today come from English. This means that you already know a little more than 10% of all the words that exist in Japanese.
Let's teach you something that you might not know, but is very useful. Arigato. It means thank you in Japanese.
That's a useful phrase. Can you explain a little bit about what these characters are, though?
Sure. That's actually the Japanese writing system called kana. And it's not as hard as it looks. Japanese doesn't use alphabetical letters in its writing system like English does. Instead, we use a set of characters called kana. You can think of each character as a syllable. A, ri, ga, to, u.
You'll learn the Japanese writing system eventually, but for now, let's put up some romanization to help get you started.
This romanization is called romaji. And it allows you to read Japanese before you become familiar with Japanese characters.
That certainly makes things much easier to learn. Well, okay then. Now listen and repeat after Risa.
Arigato.
Now you try.
Arigato.
Your turn again.
Arigato.
Well done! Now you know how to say thank you in Japanese. We've covered a lot of things already, so why don't we wrap up the first lesson and recap on what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that studying another language has many benefits, such as providing new job and business opportunities. Japan has a colorful history with many things for you to see and learn, and to say thank you in Japanese, it's
ありがと
see you in the next lesson. Bye!
う。バイ。アニメ。皆さんこんにちは。元気ですか？リサです。今日はこれをやります。Top 5 anime to help you learn Japanese。アニメで日本語を勉強することによって、リスニングスキルの役にも立つし、日本の文化とか理解するきっかけにもなると思います。それと普通の語学学習よりも楽しんで勉強できるっていうのが一番いいんじゃないでしょうか。Let's start! Number 5 Cheese Sweet Home Cheese Sweet Home チーズスイートホームは主人公が猫ちゃんです。猫だけど日本語喋るの。主人公の猫はちーちゃん。ちーです。日本語喋るのでちゃんと勉強できると思います。Very simple, very entertaining. If you're a cat person, this is full of cat. Woo! にゃーにゃーにゃー。Number 4白熊カフェ。hello. The show revolves around a polar white bear that quit his job and opened a cafeteria. It's a great source for a beginner Japanese student. Number 1, 2, 3. Persona 4, the animation. これはもともとプレイステーションのゲームからアニメになりました。ストーリーの内容は街で起こる連続怪奇殺人事件の謎と、あとその裏に潜む異界の存在に仲間たちと共に挑んでいくストーリーです。Number 2 Death Note デスノート L これはドラマも結構日本では有名で、実は私アニメは見たことないんですけど、ドラマなら見たことあります。アニメじゃなくてもドラマでも日本語勉強できると思います。Number 1 One Piece これはアニメそんなに見ないっていう人も知ってる人多いんじゃないでしょうか。私も普段はそんなにアニメとか漫画とか見ないんですけど、このワンピースは知ってますというか見たりします。たまに本当楽しいと思いますよ。ぜひチェックしてみてください。お話はルフィが海賊王を目指して仲間たちと共に冒険をするお話です。海賊王に俺はなる。以上 Top 5 Anime to help you learn Japanese です。なんか参考になれば幸いです。もしもっとアニメのリストを知りたい場合は下のリストをクリックしてみてください。じゃあまたね。Thank you for watching. Bye bye.
Hi! Welcome to Introduction to Japanese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Risa.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Japanese pronunciation. Pronunciation refers to the manner in which a word is spoken, so don't focus on reading what's on screen. Instead, focus on listening and repeating. Japanese is what is called a mora-timed language. What this simply means is that every character in Japanese, which you can think of as a syllable, occupies the same length of time.
すみません。すみません。
Notice how each character is pronounced for an equal amount of time?
すみません。
No character takes up more or less time than the other characters. Every character is valued equally and is pronounced evenly throughout.
すみません。
English, on the other hand, is a stress-timed language. Syllables that are stressed are valued greater than syllables that are unstressed. Opportunity. The stressed syllable to in opportunity is deemed more important, so it's pronounced longer than all other syllables. Listen to it again. Opportunity. This gives English a machine gun-like rhythm, where the pace is sometimes fast and at other times slow. One last time. Opportunity. Compare this once again with Japanese, which is steady and even throughout.
すみません。
Because equal value is given to each character, there is no word stress in Japanese. When pronouncing Japanese words, try to imagine a constant stream of syllables flowing out from your mouth. There are 5 characters in Japanese that signify a vowel sound.
あ、い、う、え、お。
Apart from these 5 characters, all other characters, except for one that we will cover shortly, is made up of a consonant sound and one of these vowel sounds.
か、き、く、け、こ。さ、し、す、せ、そ、た、ち、つ、て、と。
And so on. Only this character here is kind of special. It's a consonant sound without a vowel sound.
ん、
So to recap, a Japanese character could be a vowel,
あ、
or more commonly made up of one consonant and one vowel,
か、
or it could just be this consonant sound on its own.
ん。
Now you know the possible sounds that make up a Japanese character, but let's look at all the sounds in Japanese collectively. In the previous lesson, you realized that you already know 10% of all words in Japanese, which is a miracle. But are you also aware that you already know roughly 80% of all sounds in Japanese too? That means that if you were to simply imitate a Japanese speaker, your pronunciation would be correct roughly 80% of the time. For example, listen and repeat after Risa.
わさび、わさび。
Chances are your pronunciation was pretty spot on. The W, S, and B sounds are practically identical to English. The sounds may be the same, but don't forget that Japanese isn't a stress-timed language like English. So instead of stressing the second syllable like wasabi, make it even throughout. Try again.
わさび、わさび。
Nearly all sounds in Japanese are identical to English, like the W, S, and B sounds in this example. Since you already know how to pronounce most of these sounds, we only need to pay attention to the handful of sounds that are completely new to you. They're the ones we need to look out for. In the previous lesson, we taught you how to say thank you in Japanese. Do you remember what it was? It's...
ありがと
This word is often romanized like this. Focus on the second character. It's often written as an R and an I, but don't be fooled. This character isn't pronounced using an English R sound at all.
う。り、
It's like a mixture between an R and an L sound.
り。
There's no such sound in English, but most people would transcribe this using the letter R because that's the closest equivalent there is in English. Pronouncing it like an English R, however, would be a huge mistake. To pronounce this sound, lightly tap the gum ridge behind your upper teeth with the tip of your tongue. It should be a quick, striking motion, similar to the sensation you get when pronouncing the T in words like butter, cutter, and so on. Don't roll your tongue like an English R. Most of the air should go around the sides of your tongue, the same way it would when pronouncing an L sound. This is why many people describe this sound as in between an R and an L sound. Listen and repeat after Risa.
り、り。ありがとう。ありがとう。
Well done! Let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that Japanese is a mora-timed language, where syllables are pronounced for an equal amount of time. Japanese characters can represent a single vowel sound, a consonant and a vowel, or a single consonant sound. Collectively, nearly all the sounds in Japanese are identical to the sounds in English, and there are only a handful of new sounds that you need to learn.
Welcome to Japanese Top Words. Today's theme is 10 happy words. Happy, 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 happy. 嬉しい。Happy. 嬉しい。Happy. Happy, happy, yay! 嬉しい。チョコレートをもらって嬉しい。はあ、ありがとう。I get the chocolate! おおみんなで食べよう。ダン。きれい。Beautiful. わあ、きれい。おお。すごい、星がきれい。きれい。素晴らしい。Wonderful. 素晴らしい。人に優しくできる人は素晴らしい。よいしょ。重いな。よいしょ。僕が持ちますよ。ありがとね。素晴らしいね。元気。lively。元気。lively。元気。 元気が一番。はい。昨日いっぱい寝たから今日は元気いっぱいです。元気。みんな元気ですか？イエーイ。好き like アイスクリームが好きです。犬が好きです。素敵なあなたが大好きです。希望 hope 世界が平和であることと皆さんの心の中が平穏であることを希望します。hope 笑う to laugh 笑う友達が話してくれた例え話がとても面白くて笑う。笑ってはいけないところで笑う。興奮する excited 大好きな人のライブを見に行って興奮する。親切 kind あれ携帯がない。おや携帯が落ちておるぞ。持ち主はどこかな。あなたですか？ちょっと携帯落としてますよ。ありがとうございます。本当にすごい探してたんです。ありがとうございます。親切面白い funny interesting 面白い人になりたい。面白いは2つ意味があって funny の面白いと interesting の面白いがあります。例えば funny だったら面白いっていう感じでinteresting の方だったら面白い見て面白いっていう感じの使い分けです。わかるかな？ That's all for today. Thank you for watching. And if you like, please subscribe. Happy.
Hi everybody, Hiroko here. Welcome to Absolute Beginner Questions Answered by Hiroko, where I'll answer some of your most common Japanese questions. The question for this lesson is it bad to say anata? In English, you can say, are you going to school today? But the literal equivalent in Japanese, あなたは今日学校に行きますか? sounds very robotic and unnatural. So, what would you say then? Isn't あなた same as you? The most common place where Japanese people actually use あなた is when they don't know anything about the person. For example, someone drops their handkerchief on the street and then you want to get their attention. In this case, you can call the person あなた because you don't know the person's name or anything about him or her. You would say, これはあなたのハンカチですか? The other place where Japanese native speakers use あなた is when women are speaking to their husbands. In this case, it's similar to my darling and my sweetie in English. Also, お前 is often used by men when they're talking to their close friend. This means you have to be careful about using あなた and お前. When Japanese people explicitly state you in their sentences, it's proper to use the person's name and attach its suffix. You're probably already familiar with so-and-so's son, which is a polite suffix. If you use あなた with someone who you know, it's kind of rude. So it's better to use name plus son. You might already have known that Japanese people often leave out 私 because you say, for example, ひろこです to mean I'm Hiroko. We leave out 私 when it's obvious. The same thing happens with あなた and you can just leave あなた out of your sentences when whose you is obvious. Therefore, when you ask someone, are you going to school today? You can just say, 今日学校に行きますか? without saying あなた. I hope this makes sense to you. Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. またね!
Hi everyone! Welcome to Japanese Top Words. Today's theme is 20 travel phrases you should know. Let's start. ありがとう Thank you. ありがとう Thank you. もし丁寧に言いたい場合はありがとうございますです。 ありがとう。ありがとうございます。すみません。Excuse me? すみません。Excuse me? 例えば道を聞きたいときとかに人を呼び止めるときは、すいません。これはいくらですか？ How much is this? これはいくらですか？これはいくらですか？あれはいくらですか？それはいくらですか？駅はどこですか？ Where is the train station? 駅はどこですか？東京駅はどこですか？ Where is Tokyo station? Something like that. Wi-Fi は無料ですか？ Is the Wi-Fi free? Wi-Fi は無料ですか？すいません、パソコン使いたいんですけど、Wi-Fi のパスワードを教えてください。Oh, connected. Thank you. 私はちょっと前までこの Wi-Fi を Wi-Fi って呼んでました。なんか、友達が教えてくれるまでずっと Wi-Fi、Wi-Fi って言ってて、通じなかったんですね。Wi-Fi です、皆さん。これをください。I'd like this. これをください。すいません。これをください。100円です。はい。ありがとうございます。メニューお願いします。Could we have the menu, please? メニューお願いします。Could we have the menu, please? すいません。英語のメニューお願いします。おすすめはありますか？ Do you have any recommendations? おすすめはありますか？あ、すいません。ここのお店のおすすめありますか？ほうほうほう。あ、じゃあそれください。ピーナッツアレルギーがあります。I'm allergic to peanuts. ピーナッツアレルギーです。I'm allergic to peanuts. 猫アレルギーです。Cat. 花粉症です。私本当に花粉症で今の時期はとても大変です。ベジタリアン用のメニューはありますか？ Do you have any vegetarian dishes? ベジタリアン用の料理はありますか？お肉が食べられません。I can't eat meat. お会計をお願いします。Could I have the check, please? お会計をお願いします。クレジットカードは使えますか？ Do you take credit card? クレジットカードは使えますか？ Do you take credit card? ビザは使えますか？マスターカードは使えますか？ Do you take credit card? 写真を撮ってもらえませんか？ Could you take a picture of me, please? あ、すいません。写真を撮ってもらえませんか？お願いします。チーズ禁煙席お願いします。I'd like to have a non-smoking seat, please. テントン。いらっしゃいませ。2名様ですか？はい。禁煙席、喫煙席どちらがよろしいですか？禁煙席お願いします。喫煙席、smoking seat。負けてもらえませんか？ Could you give me a discount? 負けてもらえませんか？ Could you give me a discount? ダンダダンダダンダンダンダダンダダン。あ、これ欲しかったやつだ。やっと見つけたな、これ。あ、すいません、これ、いくらですか？もうちょっと負けてもらえませんか？もし負けてくれたら2つ買います。負けてもらえませんか？ Could you give me a discount? 地図ありますか？ Could I get a map? 地図ありますか？新宿駅の地図ありますか？予約をしたのですが。I have a reservation. いらっしゃいませ。あ、すいません。予約をしたのですが。I have a reservation. 水、お願いします。Water, please. Empty. 水お願いします。英語を話せますか？ Do you speak English? 英語を話せますか？あ、すいません。英語話せますか？喋れない。どこかおすすめの場所はありますか？ Is there any place you recommend? 東京駅の近くでおすすめのラーメン屋さんはありますか？ Is there any ramen shops you recommend near Tokyo Station? Oh! Thank you for watching. That was 20 travel phrases that you should know. And if you really want to learn Japanese, subscribe to JapanesePort101.com. Thank you. Bye. I have to speak perfect English, but I can't. What can I do? Oh! ちょっと負けてもらえませんか？予約をしたアダムスファミリーじゃなくて
Hi, welcome to Introduction to Japanese. My name is Alicia, and I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, I'm Risa.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Japanese writing. In English, we use one script, the English alphabet, to write. To write in Japanese, however, you will need to use 3 different scripts together.
And they are hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Hiragana is like the basic Japanese alphabet.
Instead of 26 letters, however, we have 46 characters. Each character represents one syllable. These 5 characters, for example, represent the 5 vowels in Japanese.
A, I, U, E, O.
All other characters, except for one, are made up of a consonant and one of these vowels.
Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, sa, shi, su, se, so.
And so on.
Katakana is almost exactly the same as hiragana. The only difference is that it's written a little differently. A, I, U, E, O, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. Hiragana is more cursive, while katakana has a lot of sharp corners. The final script is kanji.
Kanji is the use of Chinese characters in Japanese writing. This is because Japanese writing actually originated from China.
Right. A long time ago, Japan only used Chinese characters. Today, we use all 3 scripts together to write Japanese. Unlike hiragana and katakana though, kanji is nothing like an alphabet.
Kanji characters are a special type of character that represent an idea or concept. They act more like entire words than individual letters. And unlike the alphabet, there are thousands and thousands of kanji characters.
Not to mention, there are many different ways you can read them too. So the pronunciation actually changes according to the context.
Okay, now you know that there are 3 different scripts used to write Japanese, but why is this the case? Let's look at each script in a little more detail.
You can think of hiragana as the default script used to write most things in Japanese.
It's the most common of the 3 scripts because it's used to write functional words, including most grammatical particles, such as possessive,
の、私のペン
prepositions,
に、学校にいる
as a subject marker,
は、ジョンは学生です。
and it can also be used to write words that lack a kanji rendition or whose kanji is obscure or considered too difficult for the reader to understand. Additionally, it's used as inflectional endings for adjectives and verbs together with kanji.
見る、押す、白い、古い。
In theory, you could use this script to write everything in Japanese.
For this reason, it's generally best to learn hiragana first. We mentioned before that katakana is almost exactly the same as hiragana. The only difference is that it looks slightly different.
This is the least common of the 3 scripts because it's used to write foreign words and names,
コンピューター、ビール、ロンドン、ジョン、
and onomatopoeic sounds.
ワンワン、ニャン。It's common to learn katakana after you learn hiragana because of their similarities.
The final script is kanji, which is undoubtedly the hardest one of all to learn. Kanji is used to write most words of native Japanese or of historically Chinese origin. This includes most nouns,
人、学校、
the stems of most verbs and adjectives,
見る、行く、赤い、怖い、
and most personal and place names.
田中、ひろこ、東京、大阪。
Learning kanji may be difficult since there are thousands and thousands of them. They are, however, an integral part of Japanese writing. Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned.
In this lesson, you learned that there are 3 different scripts used to write Japanese. Hiragana is the most common, and it's used to write functional words and particles. Katakana is used to write foreign words and names. And kanji is used to write native Japanese words, or words of Chinese origin.
We've covered the very basics of Japanese writing.
Check out our Kantankana series to learn the hiragana and katakana scripts that we talked about in this lesson.
And check out our Introduction to Kanji series, where we teach you the quickest and most effective way to tackle learning kanji. In the next lesson, you'll be entering Japanese Boot Camp, where you'll learn useful beginner phrases to get you speaking Japanese right away. See you in the next lesson. Bye!
Bye!